So let's take a look at digital marketing trends for the coming year. Our next section here. Spoiler, it's going to be about Google, AI, and about Google and AI. A couple other things in here as well, a couple other nuggets. But starting out, let's take from the top macro digital marketing trends of 2025. Google search is going to continue to live on shaky ground as the machine learning underpinning those systems continues to learn. And what I mean by that is, as you all know, any one of you that has an SEO agency working for you or that keeps track of your rankings for traffic or leads, there's been a lot of fluctuation this past year, and that is largely down to the integration of core algorithm updates, the main feature of which are machine learning algorithms that attempt to provide the best responses. There are other things that Google has done, like its partnership with Reddit, which has taken over search results pages, which have overall decreased the quality of the results, I think it's fair to say. But this is going to be the big trend, right? Is how Google continues to adapt its machine learning to support search, which is its largest business. ChatGPT, Perplexity, other new entrants into the search engine market are going to start making up ground. They're going to start taking a little bit more market share. Agents. Some of you may have heard some rumblings about these little pieces of software are AI features that are going to be able to execute tasks rather than just provide information, rather than just explain how to do something. It's actually going to go out there, take control of your computer, take control of your accounts, Skynet you into things like, at first, dinner reservations, concert tickets, etc. You can go check out openai.com. They have a pretty cool video that demonstrates their AI agent. And paid ads, I think this is the one that's going to probably have the biggest impact on the audience we have here today. Paid ads, especially Google AdWords, are going to continue to broaden their match types to capture more spend from the advertisers, all while relying more heavily on AI and Gen AI and machine learning algorithms to make the process more opaque. They'll tell you that it makes it easier, but what they're really doing is reducing the visibility into how ads are targeted and how things are spent, which increases your cost per lead, all while tracking gets worse. Finally, influencers, people with authentic ties to a product or service, they're going to become increasingly valuable. If you can't rely on Google, which is the modern iteration of the phone book, to deliver you leads anymore, you need to get your brand and your services in front of somebody else's audience. And that's going to become increasingly valuable. All right. Current state of play in organic search. Look, it's going to be Google versus OpenAI in the short term. In the long term, it's going to be traditional search engines versus these upstarts, and how well traditional search engines can incorporate generative AI responses into their search engine results pages. Let's be real though. And I guess taking a look back, this is an overview of the traditional search engine market share from 2009 to 2024. Google is the blue line. Everything else is at the bottom. It is exceedingly unlikely that in 2025, 2026, or 2027, you are going to see a meaningful decrease in Google's overall search share. Now, you can kind of see here at the end, from November to December of 2024, it appears to take a hit. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're planning for the future and talking about trends in 2025. Google's not going anywhere. So let's talk about how much search market share could LLM tools eventually get. This is from a study that Rand Fishkin at SparkToro did along with Datos and SimilarWeb, relying on some SimilarWeb data, looking at cross-platform share of search, and this is from October of 2024. So what we're doing here is basically saying that given everything in the best possible light, favoring LLMs like ChatGPT, Perplexity is listed over there, and others, where is the traffic coming from? Where is the search occurring? And this is kind of biased towards the LLMs. As Rand will admit, you can find this post on LinkedIn. It's biased towards LLMs because it qualifies every prompt entered into ChatGPT, into Perplexity, into Claude as a search. And we know that that's not always the case. So even in the most favorable light, given what we know about traffic sources, and everything else that SimilarWeb collects across the web, the internet, ChatGPT at most is contributing 4.33% of web search volume. That's not a lot. Google, 83.5. Again, the change is coming, but we don't know who the winner is going to be. And we certainly don't know that we can say that, Bing with ChatGPT and ChatGPT on its own are going to be the ultimate winners. Remember, Google has a Gen AI of its own, Gemini, which isn't that great. But for some tasks, it is improving. And that's one man's opinion. Okay, so now let's take a look at kind of a local business head-to-head here. We are going to compare the Google search engine versus ChatGPT in local business searches, because that's what you all do, right? So here is google.com. We'll stay signed out. I'm going to look for, I need days. And we're going to use conversational search. So it's kind of like a one-to-one type thing. I need a lawyer for a car accident injury in post. Okay. We're not going to use the precise location, but here is the SERP that we all know and love, right? Up top. And by the way, I'm in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Any appearance by any law firm on this call or who you know is not an endorsement. It's simply a Google search results page. So up here, we have our LSA packet. If you don't know about LSAs, contact me after the webinar and we will talk. But they're an extremely effective tool for getting local leads. We then have our traditional PPC result right here. We'll see how many there are. Scrolling down a little bit more, but just one paid result there. And then we have our tried and true organic results. Okay, so for a local search, I would say that that's pretty good representation. What you're looking for here is essentially a list, right? You obviously didn't have a name. Your intent was to generate a list of attorneys who practice in the area that you need that to. And Google has provided just that, and as only Google can. So ChatGPT, let's take a look here. First of all, we're going to turn on our web search. And since I'm not I know that Google knows where I am, but I'm not 100% sure that ChatGPT does. So I'm going to give it a little bit of an edge here. Now let's take a look at what it returns. Okay. So now this is pretty interesting. Um, so what we have here is essentially a list without ads, right? Um, this is the Eden Prairie, Minnesota result that it has presented me with. Um, we also have some others here. And what's interesting is that, yes, you get the list, but you also get the sources. So we can go over here and, this is obviously a firm website. Then it's a find law directory link. Another firm site, law info. So it's a mix of directories and firm sites. So we have more to choose from here. Let's alter the query slightly. I need the best lawyer. Okay, so LSAs have disappeared. We have more sponsored ads, more traditional PPC. And then this is great because, as you know, you cannot call yourself the best injury attorney in Minnesota or in East Prairie, but super lawyers sure can, and they do, and they get the number one result because of it. So that's the Google result. Let's take a look at ChatGPT. Oops. Okay. Now, notice that who are the best car accident lawyers has changed the sources site slightly. We have expertise.com, law info. There are a couple local sites, and then there's Yelp for reviews. So when you add that qualifier, it does change the result. Now, let's go over here, and I want to quickly start try and provoke this into doing a different kind of result. Okay, so we altered the query slightly, and we are now getting a map pack result, just like we would in Google local listings, right? So let's go over here and simplify this. And here is our local pack, right? This is our organic local listings. Schwabel gets it. Stephen, Fade and Associates, TSR, from those in the Minneapolis area. Those are all, they got billboards, they got it all. Here, over on the ChatGPT results, let's take a look at the sources. Schwabel gets and Sieben, expertise.com, Sieben Carey. So they actually do provide a comparative experience to Google Maps. The upshot here is that ChatGPT is starting to catch up, and actually, sorry, Search GPT is starting to catch up with Google in terms of the search features that it provides. Heading back to our local business head-to-head here, this is my take on where we stand in the search landscape. we've got our query intent. This is the matrix here. Query intent, informational, commercial, transactional, navigational. ChatGPT and Gen AI will provide you with answers that you need to informational queries without having to sift through a bunch of junk, without having to look at an AI overview, then some ads, then a bunch of lawyer blog posts. ChatGPT, in my view, is the better choice there. You're going to get your answer in a shorter amount of time and with less distraction and less fluff. Now, for commercial and transactional intent, meaning you have broad commercial intent, you're looking at the market because you potentially want to hire an attorney, or transactional intent, meaning like altering our example here, I'm in jail, I need a lawyer right now. The phone book, Google is the way to go. You're going to get the best results and be able to choose from a menu of options. Although, as we saw, ChatGPT is getting there. Although its list and how it builds those lists is potentially suspect. And finally, for navigational intent, which is just the fourth kind of intent, Google's going to be better at that. What you're doing when you're looking for navigational intent is I've heard about your firm. Now I want to go and I want to validate some things. So I go to Google, I Google your name, your website comes up, I go take a look. ChatGPT is going to provide a summary of the website. I want to see what you have to say about yourself rather than what ChatGPT pulled from a bunch of sources. So that's going to be my pick. So that's ultimately the verdict. OpenAI, ChatGPT, it's getting there, but not in 2025. Okay, back to our trends report. AI agents. These are the types of technology that can actually do things rather than just tell you how to do things. It's going to be significant going forward from your perspective for things like lead vetting, call intake, form fill intake, migrating contacts into your CRM and evaluating cases there. Even things like assessing case value based on questionnaires and questions that it answers via an AI-powered chatbot. That's the future. However, right now, these things are going to come out fast and furious this year, just like everybody and their mom has to be selling AI, or their shareholders are going to be very upset. But here's a list of 3 agents that we can expect to be launched in 2025 with broadly, Oracle, I guess, is highly specialized, focused on sales. And then you have the 2 main competitors here, which is going to be Google's Gemini model on Samsung hardware, and then OpenAI's Operator, which is going to be presumably available through Microsoft products and whenever other partnerships Sam Altman can come up with. Google Ads, the match types in Google Ads, meaning the keyword that you choose to bid on, they're now much broader, and they're showing search terms against some questionable results. The upshot here is that other people are spending a lot of money on Google Ads, and all of a sudden, because Google has moved the goalposts or widened the goalposts in terms of targeting, is that you're getting a flood of spend that comes into niche keywords that your firm may be targeting in your area. Exacerbating that, tracking has gotten substantially worse, not only in terms of platform with GA4, but also for ads and market data and everything in particular, because of things like ad blockers, browser security, and also privacy regulations. GDPR isn't something that we necessarily need to worry about in the local US law firm marketing area, but certainly CPRA, which is a California privacy regulation, some other state regulations. I know, I think Colorado and Virginia have rolled them out. Other states will be soon. These are going to have a real impact on how data is collected and how we as marketers are able to help you as small business owners leverage that data to your benefit. So, bye-bye. All right. So really to further illustrate the point, back in the old times, broad phrase, exact match gave you control. Targeting bids, appearance of your ads gave you control. There were no really black box algorithms to manage. It was like, all right, well, here's your ad. You want to get to the top of the thing. You pay the most money. We're good. It's not like that anymore. In addition, if we're talking about analytics, there was a highly intuitive, Universal Analytics was a highly intuitive, easy to learn platform, easy to configure. It provided reliable and easily accessible data and reporting, and tracking was consistent. It was available everywhere. There were no cookie blockers. There were no cookie regulations. Ad blockers were few and far between. It was much easier to craft a holistic, extremely creepy picture of people who are looking for your products and services. In terms of what we've got now for Google Ads, exact match is now phrase match is now broad match, and broad match is now the kitchen sink. GA4, on the other hand, is the opposite in literally every single way. It is not intuitive. It's not easy to learn. It is the very definition of kind of a product that's been released in beta, meaning that there are still numerous issues that have been there since launch. Some things that they try to make better, but those things that they try to make better, they, in this humble webinar host's opinion, are actually making worse. Finally, sample data, meaning that you can't, even for sites that get small amounts of traffic and not too many conversions, you're still seeing sampled results rather than actual data on the number of users that are visiting your website and what they're doing while they're there, which leads to unreliable tracking because Google continues to change how events are reported, what the events mean, the names of events, you name it. And of course, the UI is baffling, to say the least. None of you are necessarily going to be analytics pros. None of you are probably Google Ads pros, but I just wanted to lay out for you kind of the difference between what we were doing previously and what we're seeing now. And it's all the more reason why, again, you should really have a professional running your Google Ads. Okay. This young woman is an AI-generated Gen Z influencer with the ring light and the dubiously constructed camera. What we think of when we see an influencer like this is lack of authenticity. We think of superficiality, people with short attention spans, TikToks, 6-second videos on Snapchat, all that stuff. And then we also completely align it with our views of social media. When I talk about influencers for your business as attorneys, that's not what I'm talking about. What I want to look at are these fine people that were also generated by AI. I want to talk about people who are in your local market, who have a strong presence in your city, in your region. They have an audience that aligns with your products or services, and they can be trusted. They are trusted by their audience, and they engage with their audience. They are a personality. They have followers. These micro influencers often have that higher engagement and trust. And here are 3 examples. A personal trainer you could engage to talk about injury recovery to align with personal injury law. A divorce coach or therapist that aligns with family law services. A real estate agent discussing business law or estate planning. These are the kinds of things that you need to be looking out for. And what we're essentially trying to do is find different audiences where we can share our brand, share our services, and get our name out amongst the the broader public in ways that are not as sort of cold and remote as the Yellow Pages / Google. Okay, so how does all this impact you in 2025? Increased competition from Gen AI means that web optimization extends beyond Google. In fact, it extends beyond search. As Gen AI search improves, identifying what factors are going to be involved in your brand or your business showing up in those Gen AI results is going to be key. And it's going to embed with traditional SEO. AI agents are going to hit the market hard this year, but they're not ready for prime time, so don't waste your time. Digital advertising trends, again, cost per lead is going to go up as targeting apertures are forced wider. Bad news. Finally, as an alternative to all of the traditional Google ads and Google SEO hullabaloo, get your brand, get your services out there. Find people who have audiences that are interested in what you do and engage with them to help share your message.